Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, it's post-production Adam here. As you can see, I was down in Dallas, Texas with the evil Rob Thanos right there. We did a lot of game hunting, we did a lot of eating, we had a lot of fun. And we also decided to go check out the National Videogame Museum in Frisco, Texas, which is what this entire video is going to be about. I'm just going to give you guys a nice little tour. If you guys could do me a favor, please drop a like on this video, comment, subscribe as always. Perhaps check out the travel channel as well so you can see all like the crazy foods and other things we did and a little bit of tourism and all that sort of stuff. Links to all those type of things will be in the description, as well as social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, etc. Appreciate that as always. So where are we?
Frisco Discovery Center, specifically the National Videogame Museum.
Upon first entry, see all sorts of historical artifacts about the origins of video games. Some of these I have, most of these I do not. But very cool nonetheless. I actually have that, the Nintendo one over there.
So, really cool. This is Computer Space. This is the very first coin-operated arcade game. It is based off of Space War, and is actually programmed by Nolan Bushnell of Atari fame. Before Atari, he had Nutting Associates, so really cool arcade system.
Look, it's Super Pong.
Super Pong is a thing.
This is Ultimate Super Hyper Omega Edition Pong. So this is pretty neat. They have a whole big section on development hardware. So you've got some like Net Yaroze PS1s, a Sega CD, Genesis development kit, N64 development kit, some PlayStation stuff, development kits, prototypes, and all sorts of things like that. Over here, we have one of those Bill Gates early edition Xboxes. Dreamcast dev kit, I have one of those. PlayStation 2 test kit. Xbox development kit, which is not the same as the debug kit. It's thicker, obviously. Panasonic, I'm assuming that's a 3DO dev kit. Various games and prototypes and so on. Looks like Link's Atari development hardware down there. And then, you know, you have more things, prototypes, probably some unreleased games, sealed games, complete games, boxed oddball versions like Coleco Gemini, which is infamously, we saw them in Montreal, much easier to get in Canada than they are in the US. But yeah, just a whole bunch of oddities and knickknacks. Halo 2 signed by, it looks like, the dev team. Some of these older game sets. Frog Feast, that's a terrible game, but Good Deal Games, I actually have that one. Mighty Missile, I've got that. Citizen X, I think I have as well. These are just like indie stuff that they kind of converted. Lost and Found Saturn stuff was basically unreleased or converted Saturn things, like the NTSC version of Deep Fear was one of those. So just a lot of cool stuff around here. Just to show you a little some of these homebrew games, which is what the whole section says. Like Halo 2600, I actually have that. Yeah. Duke Nukem Forever, Atari 2600. D-makes, basically. Death Trap, bunch of Mario stuff. It's all non-original. The other Star Fox game, that is a real thing. I've seen that at your store at Digital Press.
Yeah, well, that's the reason that they call Star Fox Lilat Wars in Europe.
There you go. The Tengen Tetris edition. So here's a section called the Timeline where it just shows a bunch of consoles that actually did come out. It's kind of funny for me because for the most part this is just like being in my place because I have most of ththese things. I don't have a Fairchild Channel F and I don't have this thing. Let's see, I do have the Odyssey 1 thanks to this nerd. I have that Pong, I got 2600. I don't think I have an RCA Studio 2. I know I don't have the Bally Arcade. I do have an Intellivision. I don't have the Blockbuster. Yes, that's what it's called.
What's the Blockbuster?
Yeah. Still, it's just neat to have it called Blockbuster. Odyssey 2 I've got. Some of these I've got 5200. And then when you get into this era, like this is all modern stuff. I have all this stuff. Although to be fair, I have the European version of the Magnavox Odyssey, the Philips version. Yeah, got all these things. This is Pippin. I have. Actually, Virtual Boy I don't have. But Pippin, that's the Japanese one. To be fair, we found that the actual like North American one in Montreal, which was interesting to see. It's black. It's not this one, but that's cool to see.
No loopy.
No loopy, which means this whole museum is fake. It's all debunked. It has no credibility. I'm out. Although I'll give them props on this. So they got this little like standee with all the characters, all the most iconic video game characters. and they weren't playing. They decided to actually model Donkey Kong's butt. Got a quick look at some of these handhelds here, some obscure ones. I actually have most of these, believe it or not.
Here's your handheld recap that everybody asked for.
There you go. That's it right there, everybody. I showed it to you. Some other oddities in there. Down there. And there. Actually, it's because of my buddy Chip that I actually have most of these. Like, he gave me like 4 of those. And like one Gizmondo. Although I think, I'd have to double check. A bunch of the Game Boy stuff, obviously. And random little arcade things and devices. Out here, we've got a bunch of like early era PCs, like Commodore 64 and all that were like gaming PCs. Yeah, the TI-99 Texas Instruments things, Radio Shack stuff, Apple stuff, the Apple II, actually, Atari 800. A lot of stuff actually is very playable. Stuff set up, Atari 2600 kiosks, a little replica of like a, I guess, presumably 1983 video game store where everything's on clearance and they're just purging stuff.
Joe's told me that a lot of people like come here and they expect to be able to buy all these games.
Right.
They're like, oh, cool.
Because they're all like, they're labeled as 99 cents. It is fundamentally weird, but I think it's because they don't keep this behind a rope, so it actually just looks like they're selling stuff. It's funny. But yeah, they got a bunch of oddball PC era hardware, which is cool to see. And yeah, this is not my forte, is the home computers. Although this one actually, I had the opportunity to buy one of these in Japan, but I just didn't have the space for it. Otherwise, I totally would have got that. That's for the Sega SG-3000, although that specifically is the SK-1100 for the SG-1000 keyboard. I have an SG-1000 though. So we're in the center here. Shout out to my buddy Paul Niemeyer, who made the Mortal Kombat logo. Yes, that's a real thing. They have a big Donkey Kong Country thing going on here with a whole bunch of random merch and Donkey Kong history and stuff like that. Some more stuff, just random things over here with Super Nintendo and some other games. History of virtual reality, so it's got modern versions like Oculus, but it actually has a Virtual Boy and all that. Over here we have things like Cheetah Man and Action 52 getting their own sections. And again, now we reach over to more prototypes. And even some like Jet Grind radios supposedly on a cartridge for N64. I'm not buying that for a second. But right there you got Propeller Arena on GD-R. I almost bought this exact disc once, actually, but I got outbid, and I'm assuming this is where it ended up. But you got, looks like Half-Life copies. I'm pretty sure those are reproductions, because no known copies of Half-Life actually came out. But you have a bunch of just rando things. Looks like some Sega CD possibly back there. Is Atari-era PC games, not so much Jaguar CD, but CDI stuff and NES, and, you know, just lots of just miscellaneous. Now we're in the area with just some more oddities. Of course, this is a Nintendo 64 DD. I have one of these. This is much better condition, though, because they have like a full game set. Actually, no, they don't. Yeah, they're missing the 2 heavy hitters, not surprisingly. There's a very expensive Doshin the Giant game. That's not it.
Is that it?
No, that's the regular one. There's a regular Doshin the Giant and a heavy hitter Doshin the Giant sequel. And there's also a golf game. They don't have either. I've seen both, but only once at a Super Potato, and it was like $900 per copy. Like, just absolutely insane. But they've got a lot of other oddities here. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up at some of them. Right here we have the RDI Halcyon. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. But I know that's a real word. I just never used to saying it. Interactive Laserdisc System. Giant beast of a thing. I've never actually seen one of these in person before. Things like the N64, Pikachu Edition, whatever. Shout out to Kelsey Lewin, because she's always talking about these like sewing machine things that like are compatible with versions of Game Boy, or like the Wonder Swan, the Dreamcast disc player, CD player, portable CD player, the Mountain Dew Xbox. I have one of those. Coca-Cola Game Gear, an array of multicolored PlayStation 2s. The Hello Kitty Dreamcast, of course, John Riggs with the cereals here. The Sega Neptune prototype, right there. Look at that. Now, there's actually no hardware in there. That's just a plastic shell, but I've seen that one around. Some other little random things. I think, shout out to Jake Friedel Zebular. I believe you actually own one of these, the Amiga C32 Socrates edition. Actually, we found another Apple Pip, and this is the American one. The modem is a little bit different than the one we saw in Canada, but it's got the screen. Panasonic GameCube. This one actually has the Game Boy player. This is the only time, other than the one I have, which has the Game Boy player. Mine does. Aside from that, I've never seen anybody who actually has that. CDX, the Casio Dreamcast radio, other little Sega things. Some of those early era light guns. Oh yeah, this is the Heartbeat personal trainer Sega Genesis, basically by Sega, that was designed specifically for other purposes. Then just a bunch of other little random oddities, a lot of stuff that we either have or we're familiar with, or you know, on other versions of it. And then some things we're just like, what? This weird version of the 5200 it looks like. This strange version of the Atari 2600.
Yes, and it's me. I'm here on display.
A Marlboro like cigarette company, a version of the Lynx. There's some other mutant versions of the Lynx, etc. And then we've got a bunch of some of the rare games, odd games, sealed ones of certain stuff. A lot of the exclusive, the famous ones like Air Cars, Stadium Events, Clay Fighter, Beast Wars, Nintendo World Champions, of course, Magical Chase. You know, some of the things that like everybody's like, oh man, that's the game. Well, they're all just sitting here. They're right there. There's a bunch of them. Dark Side, infamously the hardest legit 32X game to get. A lot of the super rare Sega Saturn stuff, of course. Sega CD as well. Some of those I have, actually.
Oh, wow, the Twilight Princess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, Outback Joey, that's famously like the hardest Genesis game to get because it's actually for the Heartbeat, which is the thing we just showed you over there. So we got some other sealed games and some melted in television stuff for some reason. Actually, I was at, that's Quantum Cola, Nuka-Cola. I was actually at PAX West when Bethesda was giving those away. The Sega Dreamcast, I have one of those, did a video on it years ago. It's a clone. The Henshin Tigers GameCube. I found one of those in Japan, passed on it, but that was just because of space. The video pack, another Net Yozori, or the 10 million edition, the 10 million sold PS1, sorry. Neo Geo, AES, things like Famicom, Super Game Boy Color. Some of this stuff is interesting to see because I actually own it, so to me it's nothing special. It's just weird. Ooh, Mario No Photopie. That is actually one of the hardest N64 games to find, right there. Japanese exclusive one. Found it once and passed on it like a moron. They have a Mega Jet back there. Sufami Turbo. There's a whole section on PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16. That's actually a super uncommon version of it right there, like a portable version. Yeah, lots of figures and merch. Look, Mario movie merch. Wowza. So we noticed that nowhere in this place have we found a Casio Loopy, which I think mostly invalidates this place's credibility, obviously.
I think it reflects very poorly.
It does. And so we went through that. They have like an electronic database, because fairly they cycle stuff out. There's more consoles than you can, like, you know, look up. Look at this thing. But the Tiger R's, I actually own one of those. But we went through this whole thing. Guess what never shows up?
Casio Loopy. Loopy race.
I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? So we just left the museum. Went really well. I hope you guys enjoyed that tour we did there. Huge shout out to them because they gave us private access to their Sega Pluto prototype, which is... you guys saw a little bit of it. And they also let us get access to the Sega Neptune. So stay tuned because I'm going to be doing more with both of them. Ooh, spoilers, sort of. Not really. More like teasing you guys a little bit. But stay tuned to all that stuff. And if you get the chance, come out to Frisco, Texas and support this place. There's a lot of really great stuff in there. Like I said, this place makes my mouth water. Like, they have the only Dreamcast game I don't have. It's Propeller Arena GD-ROM. Now, technically, you know, it didn't really come out. That's why I can not be too mad, but I bid on it once and they outbid me. But anyway, they've got it and it's awesome to see. So please come check them out. Follow me on all the social media stuff in the description. Like, comment, subscribe as always. Check out Rob Thanos. I think he has an Instagram somewhere full of these things somewhere. Anyway, you can check all that out. Thank you very much for watching as always. Please check out the new flying channel as well so you can see other adventures like us going to eat stuff that we did on this trip, etc., etc. Thank you very much and we'll see you all later.